On Tuesday, May 19th, Days of Our Lives takes Salem into a quieter but deeply dangerous kind of drama. One shocking return is now creating questions no one can easily answer. Abe is emotional. EJ may have his own angle. Theo is caught in the middle. And Paulina may soon face a confrontation that could shake her marriage. But the tension does not stop there. Across Salem, fragile relationships are being tested. Hidden pressure is building, and romantic moments may not be strong enough to cover the truth. So Tuesday is not just about one reunion. It is about what happens when the past returns, and suddenly, everyone's future feels uncertain. And at the center of that uncertainty is Abe, who may be grateful. But gratitude in Salem can be dangerous when EJ Demera is involved. Abe thanking EJ should feel like a moment of grace. After everything Abe has endured, Lexi's return is not something he can process like ordinary news. This is not just a familiar face coming back to Salem. This is a piece of his past stepping into the present, forcing him to reopen emotions he thought had already been buried with grief. So when Abe thanks EJ, it may be sincere. He may see EJ as the person connected to this impossible second chance. And in that moment, Abe may not be thinking about strategy, power, or Demera manipulation. He may simply be overwhelmed by the fact that Lexi is alive, close, and suddenly part of his world again. But EJ will not hear that thank you the same way Abe says it. EJ understands how valuable emotional gratitude can be. He knows that when someone feels indebted, even slightly, that feeling can be used later. He may not demand anything right away. He may not even reveal his expectations. But the moment Abe acknowledges him, EJ gains something. He gains importance. And that could be dangerous. Because EJ does not need open control to create influence. Sometimes all he needs is access, sympathy, and the chance to remind people that he helped when it mattered most. Abe may believe he is simply showing appreciation. But with EJ, a thank you can become a doorway. And once Abe opens that door, he may find it much harder to close when EJ starts stepping further into his family's crisis. Still, EJ may only be one part of the problem. The real emotional collision begins when Lexi makes it clear she wants to face Paulina herself. Lexi demanding to meet Paulina is not just an emotional request. It is a power move. Lexi is not asking politely to understand Abe's life. She is not staying quiet while everyone else decides where she belongs. By demanding to see Paulina, Lexi is making one thing clear. She intends to face the woman who now stands beside Abe. And for Paulina, that confrontation could be devastating. Paulina did not build her marriage by replacing Lexi. She loved Abe after loss, after time, after life had already moved forward. Her relationship with Abe is not fake. It is not temporary. It is not something that disappears just because the past has returned. But Lexi's presence changes the emotional rules instantly. Paulina may suddenly feel like she has to defend a marriage she never thought would be questioned this way. Lexi, on the other hand, may feel like she is walking back into a life that should still include her. Both women could be standing on completely different truths, and both could believe they are right. That is what makes this meeting so explosive. It may not begin with shouting. It may begin with controlled words, careful looks, and painful restraint. But underneath the surface, the real conflict will be obvious. Lexi represents Abe's deepest past. Paulina represents the life he chose after surviving that past. And Abe may soon realize that he cannot protect both women from the same truth. Someone is going to feel left behind. And as Abe, Lexi, and Paulina move closer to an impossible emotional triangle, Theo is left carrying questions that may be too heavy to keep inside. Theo opening up to Gabby could become one of Tuesday's most revealing scenes. On the surface, Lexi's return should be a blessing for Theo. His mother is alive. His family has been given something rare, shocking, and deeply emotional. But that does not mean Theo's feelings are simple. Theo may be trying to be happy, but happiness does not erase confusion. He has to watch Abe get pulled back toward a woman he once loved with his whole heart. He has to think about Paulina, who may now feel like her marriage is suddenly under threat. And he has to deal with his own emotions about Lexi's return without making anyone else feel guilty. This is why Gabby matters in this moment. She is not directly inside the Carver marriage crisis, so Theo may feel freer with her. He can admit the things he might hesitate to say to Abe. He can be honest about the pressure, the fear, and maybe even the uncomfortable question no one wants to ask out loud. What happens now? Theo may want Abe to make a clear choice, not because he is cruel, but because limbo can hurt everyone. He may fear that delaying the truth will only make the heartbreak worse. And he may be struggling with the guilt of wanting answers when everyone else is still trying to celebrate Lexi's return. That is what gives this scene emotional weight. Theo is not rejecting his mother. He is not choosing sides. He is realizing that Lexi's return does not simply restore the family he lost. It creates a new, complicated family crisis that no one is ready to solve. But the Carver family is not the only part of Salem under pressure. Somewhere else, a simple check-in may be happening right before another relationship begins to fall apart. Philip checking on Joy may look like a small, thoughtful moment, but it could carry more weight than it first appears. Joy is already standing near the center of a fragile situation. Baby Kelsey has changed Alex's life, shaken Stephanie's confidence, and created a new family dynamic that no one fully knows how to handle yet. Joy may be trying to stay steady, but her presence alone affects several relationships around her. So when Philip reaches out, it may seem harmless. But the timing is suspicious. Philip's own world is about to take a serious hit. The truth about Gabby's role in the Titan-Demera merger disaster is moving closer to the surface, and once Philip realizes how deeply she was involved, his trust in her could collapse fast. That makes his concern for Joy more complicated. Maybe he genuinely wants to make sure she is okay. Maybe he sees someone vulnerable and chooses kindness. But it is also possible that Philip is looking for a quiet place to breathe before the storm around Gabby finally breaks open. Joy could become a comforting presence at the wrong time. And that is where the tension begins. If Philip's relationship with Gabby starts falling apart, his connection with Joy may suddenly look different, not necessarily romantic, but emotionally important. She could become the person who sees him unravel before anyone else does. For Philip, this visit may feel like a simple check-in. But in Salem, a quiet conversation often happens right before someone's entire life changes direction. From Philip's quiet concern, the episode shifts into another fragile relationship, where romance is still alive, but certainty is not. Alex and Stephanie stealing a romantic moment gives Tuesday's episode a softer emotional beat, but it does not erase what is hanging over them. Their chemistry is still there. That is important. This relationship is not falling apart because the feelings disappeared. In fact, the tenderness between them may make the situation even more painful, because it proves there is still something real worth saving. But love is not the only issue anymore. Alex's life has changed because of Kelsey. Fatherhood is no longer a shocking announcement or a temporary adjustment. It is becoming part of who he is. He is bonding with his daughter, stepping into responsibility, and discovering a side of himself that may only grow stronger from here. Stephanie can see that, and that may be exactly what scares her. She is not just reacting to a baby. She is reacting to a future she may not feel ready to live. Her trauma, her uncertainty about children, and her fear of being pulled into a life she did not choose are all still there, even in a romantic moment. That is what makes this scene bittersweet. Alex may see the romance as proof they can still make it work. Stephanie may want to believe that too. But once the moment passes, the same question remains between them. Can they build a future when Alex is moving deeper into fatherhood, while Stephanie is still unsure whether she can stand beside him in that life? The kiss may be real. The love may be real. But the distance between what they feel and what they can actually handle may be growing larger than either of them wants to admit. So by the time Tuesday's episode pulls all these threads together, the real danger is not one dramatic explosion. It is the emotional pressure building beneath every conversation. By the end of Tuesday's episode, Salem may look calm in certain places, but emotionally, everything is shifting. Abe's gratitude toward EJ may come with hidden consequences. Lexi's demand to meet Paulina could turn a miracle into a heartbreaking confrontation. Theo may finally reveal how much pressure he is carrying. Philip's concern for Joy may happen just before his own relationship begins to fall apart. And Alex and Stephanie's romantic moment may only make their uncertain future more painful. That is what makes Tuesday so important. The episode is not just asking who loves whom. It is asking what love can survive. Can Abe honor his past without destroying his present? Can Paulina stand her ground when Lexi enters the picture? Can Theo handle the emotional weight of a family being rewritten? Can Philip stay steady when the truth about Gabby explodes? And can Alex and Stephanie hold on when love is no longer the only thing that matters? In Salem, the past never returns quietly. And this time, Lexi's return may not only reopen old wounds. It may force everyone to choose what kind of future they are brave enough to face.